Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How are you? This is Freddie Ewan, two-time GM of the Year, Pantheon Cup champion, fantasy football god, and host of that fantasy football show. The NFL is here, baby. It is here. Two back-to-back games, one on Thursday night. We had a rematch of the AFC Championship between the Chiefs and the Ravens. The next night down in Brazil, two more playoff teams from last year kicking off. Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers against my team, Philadelphia Eagles, who featured Saquon Barkley. And we're going to get right into it. First thing we're going to talk about is the Eagles and Packers game. What a game that was. A lot of scoring if you're a fantasy football fan. Jordan Love has a little bit of an injury from what I saw. It looks pretty bad. He injured it on one of the last plays of the game. If you're a Jordan Love owner, you got to be very, very worried right now. Start looking to the backup. In a lot of these leagues, you see guys that are drafting, two or three quarterbacks that they will not need. One of the things that you can do if Love is injured, there are a couple quarterbacks on the waiver wire that you can kind of move around and piece together, because at some point you're going to see these other teams are going to have to let go their quarterbacks and release them, because there's just going to be too many injuries at halfback and wide receiver and players not meeting any needs and whatnot. But if you're a Jordan Love owner right now, you're hoping for the best, but probably expecting the worst. It looked like a really bad injury for Love. I really like Jordan Love. I have him on my fantasy team in the TFFKL. Played a great game last night. And I'd love to see the guy get back, because he is really fun to watch. Love made a ton of passes to Jayden Reed. Really big day for Jayden Reed. He scored his touchdown in the air and on the ground. I think Reed had about 138 yards receiving off just 4 catches, which was very, very interesting. On the other side, if you are a Saquon Barkley owner, you are feeling really, really good today. Barkley was dominant, 3 touchdowns, ran for over 100 yards. The Eagles gave him the ball early and often, and Barkley produced. I knew that Saquon was going to be a huge pickup and a great play for fantasy. Being on that Giants team, he was the focus of that offense for years. Giants don't have a very good offensive line. They didn't have any very good quarterback play, not very good wide receiver play. So it was really easy for defenses to focus on Barkley. The situation he's going with Philly is just a whole different story. He's got a great offensive line, great quarterback, great playmakers on both the sides, good tight end, the whole 9 yards. Really, Barkley is going to get a piece of the puzzle. And, after looking at last night, I don't think he's going to score 3 touchdowns every game, but I think Barkley has a real chance to put up CMC-like numbers this year. So if you got Saquon Barkley, congratulations. That's exciting. On the other side, the other game, AFC Championship rematch, very, very interesting. Chiefs beat the Baltimore Ravens, and interesting stat lines for a couple players. Mahomes was decent. Lamar Jackson threw for over 100 yards. Tight end wise, Travis Kelce did not have a good game, and Mark Andrews did not have a good game. Isaiah Likely, huge numbers for Isaiah Likely, and 9 receptions, 111 yards, and a touchdown, and would have had that second touchdown too had they called it in at the end of the game. So if you're a Mark Andrews owner, I would be very, very worried right now. Isaiah Likely is actually available in a lot of leagues. And if you are a Mark Andrews owner, I would be spending whatever you can to get Likely. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. On the other side of the ball, Travis Kelce, I don't know if it's the Taylor Swift deal or what it is, but Kelce did not have a good game. Just going on to the next gen stats for Kelce, I just wanted to see, I don't think he had any red zone targets whatsoever, receiving wise. And, in the meantime, that rookie Xavier Worthy, boy, was he something else. Worthy proved how fast he is and how great he can play. He had a touchdown both on the ground and in the air, just like Jayden Reed and Barkley did. Worthy was something else. I think that if you are an Xavier worthy owner, you got to feel pretty good right now. I think he's going to get a little bit of a downgrade once Hollywood Brown returns. But the other thing I'm thinking too is that this might be the year of the young wide receivers. If first and second year, there are some rookie wide receivers in here today and tomorrow that are just going to be unbelievable. And a lot of guys who were rookies last year are going to have big opportunities to shine as well. I think that, it looked from just the first 4 games that these older tight ends with Andrews and Kelce, Goddard even, it doesn't look like they're going to produce much. I am not a big fan of Travis Kelce right now. I think Mahomes likes to air the ball out. Kelce has been, at times in the last couple of years, he has been the safety code for Mahomes. He's still going to get some receptions. He's going to still score a lot of points. But I think that, looking at that tight end where Travis Kelce was 1 and points ahead of the next tight end, he was like the cheat code for tight ends for a couple of years. I think those days are over. So yeah, that's it. On the other side, back to the Eagles a little bit. Jalen Hurts had some, believe it or not, his numbers were pretty good in leagues. I think he had 2 touchdown passes. He also had 2 interceptions. Did not have a lot of rushing yards. I think he had 39 rushing yards, no touchdowns rushing. Jalen Hurts, the tush push last year, 15 touchdowns rushing for Jalen Hurts, which I think was a quarterback record tying Josh Allen. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of that this year with Barkley. They're still going to do the tush push and whatnot, but I think Jalen Hurts is not going to get a whole lot of rushing touchdowns, not nearly as he did last year. I think Barkley is really going to take that away from him. The other thing is the offensive line, and with Jason Kelce gone from the Philadelphia Eagles, Hurts fumbled the ball twice last night. 2 botched snaps. I think he lost 1, but 2 interceptions, a botched snap. Eagles really got to get that together. 3 turnovers for Hurts. If you're a Hurts owner and you took him, in early in the 2nd, 3rd round, I didn't take Jalen Hurts at all in any of my drafts. I didn't take him much in any best ball drafts, and I did a lot of best ball drafts. But I just think that Hurts is a he's a solid quarterback. He's a great player, but I really think that he's not going to have to do it all as he had to do the last previous years, especially on the ground. So I'm going to see if I can just share my screen really quickly. Get this up. Let me see if I can do this correctly. Here we are. I think we are going to get this up and rolling. Yeah, so here we are. Next Gen Stats. This is a great site if you are a fantasy football player. And, just take a look at a couple of things down here. Let me see if I can bring this up a little bit better. I had the roots up here. Let me see if these are up. Here's the charts. Yeah, here's the charts I wanted to take a look at. So Barkley, as you can see, if we take a look at his chart, this is his rushing chart. He was tackled for a loss, I think 4 times. But you look at the green lines, which is 5+ yards gained, and he took off. He had a rush for over 35 yards. He had a 16 or 17-yard rush for a touchdown. A lot of in the middle stuff going on. A lot of 0 to 5 yards. 24 carries, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. Really good game for Saquon. We look at the receiving. I just want to take a look at AJ Brown right here. 1 big catch, really all you need. AJ was a little bit over here. He was targeted a couple times. But you can see Big Root over here, and just the yards after a catch is huge. That's why AJ Brown's a big guy. Devontae Smith was all over the place, caught a lot of balls, but really couldn't really break one. He did have a 26, 27-yard grab, which was huge. But Smith is going to be a guy where he's going to get 6, 7 receptions a game. He was targeted 8 times, hit 7 receptions, 84 yards, 52 yards after catch. That's a typical Devontae Smith game. He's always going to get you like 10, 11 points, something along those lines. One thing I want to go to, and let me see if I can find this. I want to find these all charts here. Let me see if I can find Jayden Reed. Jayden Reed was only targeted 6 times, caught the ball 4 times, but 138 yards and 57 yards. He didn't really have a whole lot of yards after catch, but Jordan Love was able to throw that ball deep, and Love's got an arm. Malik Willis does not. If Love does not play and he's injured for a long period of time, Jayden Reed is going to get a big downgrade with Willis, just because Love can throw, and you look at Love's at Oh, that's Barkley. Let me just bring up Love's passing really quickly too, and show you what we're looking at here. But you can see all these deep balls that Love threw. Deep ball, deep ball, deep ball. He's throwing it 10, 10, 10. There's a couple short passes in here, a couple screen passes, but Love definitely, he throws that deep ball over and out. He threw a 39-yard incomplete pass. That's a lot of heaps. Jordan Love's got an arm on him. The other guy I want to go to really quickly is Rashee Rice. Had a 5 targets, 4 receptions, 47 yards. I know he did have a decent game. I think Rashee Rice did have a lot more stats than this. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing, but Rashee Rice did have a good game. Pacheco had a good game running. The guy that I want to look at and find though is Isaiah Likely. And this guy, this guy is something else. You look at his after catch here, 50 plus yard touchdown, gets out, and he's a big dude that can turn and burn. He can catch long passes, he can catch short passes. Isaiah Likely targeted 12 times, 9 receptions, 111 yards, and a touchdown. That's pretty big news for the backup tight end. So if, like I said, if you're a Mark Andrews owner, way more so than Kelce, I think you need to start looking. If you have Likely on the waiver wire, which I see he does a lot, you got to go pick that guy up right now. And, before I get off, I'm just going to go over a couple games with everyone and just go over a couple start and sits, who I like and who I don't like. I'm going to tell you right now, there's a couple running backs that I do not like. The Bengals running back, don't know what's going on with Zach Moss and Chase Brown. I am not starting either of them. I'm trying to stay away from all Patriots players. I have Stevenson in a lineup. I'm not sure if I'm going to play him yet. I think that's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to probably be pretty ugly. Still, we're not still on Jamar Chase. I think he's playing, but hasn't practiced at all. Same thing with the Steelers. I don't like what's going on in their backfield right now until we can kind of establish who the 1A and 1B is. I'm staying a lot away from this game a lot. This is a game that I'm targeting a lot. I think that James Conner is probably a really good player to have on the Cardinals right now. I think he's going to be able to run the ball a lot. Bills are going up against a pretty bad secondary. You just got to figure out who the guy to start is, whether it's Shakur or Coleman. If you got the tight end, everyone's going to start the tight end, obviously. But I think that the Bills wide receivers are definitely going to have a good opportunity to put some points up this week. You just got to figure out which one it's going to be. Titans, Bears, another backfield I'm staying away from between Spears and Pollard. I'm staying away from that Titans backfield. Bears are going to be an interesting team to watch. You really don't know what you're going to get from them. They're at home. High expectations for the Bears this year with Williams. It's going to be interesting to watch these wide receivers and really figure out, who is going to be Williams' favorite target and who's he going to get to. Texans, Colts. I was really hard on the Texans wide receivers, stayed away from them early on, but like I said, I really want to see what they can do with Collins, Tank, and now Diggs. I'm not starting any one of them. Don't have a lot on their teams, but I'm actually okay if you start any 3 of these this week. This is another big game that I'm targeting a lot. Dolphins and Jaguars. I like both wide receivers here, Mozart and a Chain. If you have those guys, they should be definite starts no matter what. Jaguars, obviously with ETN at the running back, I think the Jaguars are going to be a little bit better this year. They got a big rookie in Brian Thomas, Christian Kirk. It's going to be interesting to see where Trevor Lawrence is throwing the ball. Panthers is someone that I'm just, totally staying away from for right now. Even Deontay Johnson. I think Deontay Johnson might have an opportunity to make a big impact with the Panthers, which is going to take Thielen down a little bit. For the Saints, Saints have some, Alave and And Kamara, I'm starting Kamara all day long. I don't think there's anyone in the backfield that's competing with Kamara on the Saints, so I'm going to be starting him all day long. Olave, I think, has a little bit. It's going to be hard for Olave to really meet his. I mean, he was a late second round pick in a lot of drafts, but I still think the jury's out on him. Vikings Giants. This is another game that I'm targeting, especially with the receivers. Bad secondaries for both the Vikings and Giants. I think Malik Neighbors is going to have a big day in his first day in the NFL. He's going to be able to, they're going to target him left and right. They got Giants have no one else to throw the ball to, and Derek Singletary, run the ball. I think they're going to be behind for the Vikings, even though it's only a -1.5. On the other side, if you have Justin Jefferson, I think Jefferson is I think Jefferson's not going to have any problem catching the ball or making plays with that quarterback over there. McCarthy out for the year, and he is going with Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold is a big sleeper too. I think he might have an opportunity to put some numbers up this year. Raiders Chargers. This is backfield. I'm totally staying away from this Chargers backfield. I have a couple wide receivers. I think if you have McConkey or Palmer. Those are two good guys to start this week. On the Raiders side, obviously, you're going with Adams. I have Zamir White as a running back. I'm still not sure what to do with Zamir White. Everyone says that the Chargers are going to run the ball, but you really still don't know how they're going to run the ball. Dobbins coming back off a big injury. I like Gus a whole lot more than I like Dobbins right now. Broncos Seahawks. This is another game Bo Nix I have in some leagues. I'm putting him on the bench. On the Seahawks side, Metcalf has a very tough matchup where he's going to be shadowed the whole time. So I do like JSN a lot. Lockett's a little banged up. If I'm starting anyone here like a deep sleeper, it's going to be JSN. And back on the Broncos side, I think Javonte Williams is in for a big day as well. Cowboys Browns, stay away from this completely. Cowboys backfield, we have no idea. Zeke Elliott is out of shape. Old. Dowell is not that great of a player either. They got Dalvin Cook, who hasn't done anything in years. Browns on the other side, Kareem Hunt. I think Hunt's going to get some opportunities here, but it's really just I'm staying away from these wide receivers and quarterbacks in both this game. Commanders and Buccaneers. This should be a game that should be pretty fun to watch. I like the Bucks receivers, both Evans and Godwin here. I actually like Baker in this game. Commanders, I want to see what Jane Daniels can do. And, I'm staying away from the Commanders backfield too. I think Eckler and Brian Thomas are two guys that you want to stay away from, especially Eckler. I know that the rookie's going to, be started in a lot of leagues, but I really think that that putting the wide receiver and the guy on the guy Commanders fans, McLaurin. If you can put McLaurin in on the Commanders, that's a great idea. I think McLaurin's going to be throwing the ball to again and again and again. And then the Sunday night game, Rams and Lions. It's going to be interesting with Puka and Cooper, but I think the line's so high here, 52.5 points. You want to be starting as many players as possible, both with the Rams and Lions. I'm okay with you starting Montgomery if you got him on your team. Same thing with the Rams. I'm okay with, Kyron Williams. It's going to be interesting to see what he does this year, but I'm starting as many players in this Rams-Lions game as possible. Going to this game is going to be, the 49ers are, such a fantasy team with so many fantasy players on the 49ers. CMC, the receivers on that team, Kittle, the tight end, Purdy. This is going to be a tough game to score a lot of points. I think this is going to be a tough week for CMC and the 49ers offense. I'm not going to be starting Purdy. CMC, you pretty much have to start, but I'm not going to be starting too many other 49ers. Debo's a guy that you have to start too. Aiyuk is probably a guy that you have to start, but I don't think you can expect too much from them. On the other side, the Jets, Aaron Rodgers is a guy that I'm totally staying away from. I think you have to start Breece Hall as well. I think you have to start Garrett Wilson as well, but don't expect too much from these guys either. I think this is going to be a low scoring, fight it out, 17-14, 2017 game on Monday night. And I think that, a lot of fantasy managers who have some great fantasy players on both these teams are going to be pretty disappointed this week. But don't hit the exclamation mark. The only people who should be hitting the exclamation mark at this time is right now, if you are a Mark Andrews owner or if you are a Jordan Love owner. Those are the only two big things to worry about right now. But anyway, tomorrow's Sunday. the first Sunday in NFL football. We had two great games. I'm pumped up. This is going to be a fun fantasy year. And don't make sure you like and subscribe. Hopefully, at some point, we're going to get some, we're going to turn this into a real fantasy football show. If anybody knows how to use YouTube and put up, stats and blah, 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 please let me know. Because I have no idea how to edit this stuff or do anything. I just record it on Zoom. I share my screen and go from there. But we can make this fantasy football show really exciting because I am a fantasy football god. Anyway, everyone have a great Saturday. Enjoy college football, and we will talk later. Bye-bye.